Hello everyone, Silent here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build a new and improved Trident Killer for your Bedrock Edition worlds. You might have noticed that the recent Bedrock updates have broken Trident Killers, so now we need to redesign them, make new Trident Killers, and honestly they still work just as well as they did before, with a couple minor changes. If you're not aware, Trident Killers are honestly one of the best things that we have on the Bedrock Edition, as they're a fully AFK way of killing pretty much any mob in the game, so they're perfect for most mob farms that you might have. They kill all the mobs fully automatically, they provide experience from the mobs as well, and if you're holding a looting sword, then you'll also get the looting effect applied to the mobs for extra drops. Overall, Trident Killers are amazing and you should have one of these on basically every single mob farm that you have. Let's take a look at the change that affected Trident Killers and broke them in the previous updates. So right here we have a standard Trident Killer that we had before, and as you can see the Trident is on top of a slab and that gets moved back and forth and it kills all the mobs that are in the kill chamber, as you can see here. Now this does technically still kind of work, however the mobs actually slowly move around the tridents, and as you can see that one right there just fell off. So after a few minutes or possibly even a few hours of testing, you will have a broken Trident Killer because all of the tridents will fall off and be completely useless, no longer damaging the mobs. So I've done a bunch of testing with like a couple dozen different Trident Killer designs. I had even more that I tore down, and I tested all of the blocks that you could put a trident on. All of these guys right here basically are terrible. These 4 blocks right here work kind of well, and the honey block actually works pretty decently. That can last a couple of hours without losing any tridents or fully breaking. So it turns out that you don't actually need to have the tridents on a block. You can simply have them on the floor and then push them around in a circle using pistons. The reason why you want to push them around in a circle is because eventually, if you're just pushing them back and forth from left to right, then they would get lodged in the sides and that would break your killer. So it kind of has to go around in a circle. And now we can go ahead and summon in some creepers using a command block real quick. You can see that this thing works extremely quickly, albeit rather noisily. You get all of the experience, you can pick it up through that wall right there, and then of course if you hold a looting sword, then the looting effect will be automatically applied to any mobs that your Trident Killer kills, regardless of you actually having to interact with them. So if we go ahead and spawn in a whole bunch more, these guys will all die, get the looting effect applied to them, also drop experience, and overall just be a whole bunch of happiness. Before we hop into the Trident Killer tutorial, a little bit of basic information on Trident Killers. You can use any kind of trident that you like in your killer. It can literally have like a 2 durability. You can throw it in there, it'll work just fine, and they'll never take any durability damage from hitting the mobs. So these tridents will last forever. You don't have to worry about it. These also do not have to be enchanted tridents. They can literally just be plain, half-broken tridents, whatever works for you. And also, only the person who throws the tridents into the Trident Killer will get experience, and they will have to be the one to hold the looting sword in order for the effect to be applied. So for instance, if this normal pants person over here throws a trident into the Trident Killer, then the Tiz Tom Rioter guy will not be able to use the Trident Killer. They will have to pick up the tridents and then throw them in there themselves in order to have the looting effect and the experience apply to them. If the first person wants to use it again, then they have to pick up the tridents and throw it back in there. It's player specific, so if you're playing on a multiplayer world, make sure you keep that in mind. So this Trident Killer right here will work pretty much fine for any mob that you throw at it. As you can see, it just kind of demolishes everything. No real issues to be seen. Doesn't really matter what you throw at it. However, I would not suggest that you use this basic version right here for Ravengers, because those guys can clip out the sides. They have a pretty terrible hitbox, and they love to phase through blocks. So I'll have a slightly different Trident Killer for my, raid farm fix video that will be coming out soon. So stay tuned if you want a Ravenger Trident Killer. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into the tutorial, shall we? If you're interested, there will be a materials list for this build down in the description of the video. And other than that, let's go ahead and hop into it. So you're going to need a 4x4 area for the main Trident Killer. This is going to be going 3 blocks underground as well for your storage. Your double chest for storage will be right there, and then of course you can expand that into other storage if you want to. These stairs going down into your Trident Killer is going to be right here in this area, so this is going to be basically where you stand to use your Trident Killer. So let's go ahead and install the hopper for actually collecting all of your items. We need a hopper right there under this corner, and we're going to go ahead and place a hopper minecart on top of that. So make sure your rail is facing to the sides. Place a hopper minecart right there, and then we're just going to go ahead and put these blocks back to the side, and that will collect all the drops from inside of your kill chamber. So now we're going to go ahead and place in a dropper right there with an observer facing that, a solid block behind it, one dropper right there, observer, solid block, another dropper, one more observer, another solid block, another dropper, another observer, and one final solid block. And that is going to create the circuit that is going to power all of the pistons for our Trident Killer. So on top of each of these, solid blocks right here, we need to place in a piston, and that is what is going to push around all of our tridents. We can now go ahead and fill in these sides with some solid blocks and build this up by a couple blocks as well, just to contain all the mobs. So now go ahead and grab some glass, and you want glass blocks on the front of the kill chamber just so that you can see in there and see all of the chaos and death that is happening. And now we need to build up a drop chute going to your mob farm. Again, this is simply a kill chamber. This thing does not spawn mobs. This is to kill the mobs from any existing mob farms that you have in your world. So build that up and connect it to whatever mob farm you're trying to feed the mobs into here. So now we're going to go ahead and place in a couple of stairs right here so that we can access our chest and all of our drops. A couple solid blocks right there, and 2 more stairs like so. That way we can step down here, access our drops, and also stand against this wall to collect all of the experience from our mobs in the kill chamber. The on switch is actually going to be going right here, so as soon as you power that, that's going to send a signal around, but now this thing is actually off. Flick it again, and everything will be going and active. The final thing that you need to do is throw in a couple of tridents. I would suggest just throwing in like maybe 3 or 4 of them. It doesn't really matter, but now you can see that all those things are getting pushed around, and if we summon in a couple of mobs from our mob farm, then you can see that all these guys are going to be getting killed. So of course the decoration of your Trident Killer is completely up to you, and of course you don't need to use quartz blocks, just any solid block would work. Even dirt would work if you feel like building it out of dirt. So one thing that you can do is actually slow down the Trident Killer. As you saw, we are actually using droppers to send the redstone signal along. However, if you want to, you can actually replace these, droppers with pieces of redstone dust, and this will significantly slow down the Trident Killer, and it could possibly make it more reliable if you're playing on a laggy world, or if you're having issues with mobs clipping out of the sides of the farm and escaping. So now if we turn that on, you can see that it is significantly slower. Also, to troubleshoot the mobs escaping through the sides, you will just need to put an extra layer of blocks on every side. This is something I haven't seen happen with this design. However, it could be a thing that possibly happens for you. There's basically no guarantees in this game, and mobs are very strange and like to phase through blocks. So if you're having issues with mobs escaping, just put an extra wall of blocks around the edges. Right now, I'm not sure of a way to make another advanced Trident Killer where it delivers all the drops and XP to the player with the current 1.14 plus mechanics. However, this is something that I will be working on, and if you have any ideas or suggestions on how to make an advanced Trident Killer that delivers everything to you, then let me know in the comments down below. Also, we will not be getting back the old Trident Killer mechanics because it's marked as works as intended on the bug tracker. So this is what we got going forward, and hopefully they don't break anything anymore, because again, Trident Killers are just so nice and we really need them on Bedrock Edition. If they're planning on removing Trident Killers at any point, they have to give us Sweeping Edge, because this is the best thing that we got. Anyway, that is going to do it for today's tutorial. I do hope that you have all enjoyed. If you did, then please do leave a like on the video, as it helps out the video and the channel significantly. If you're new here and you want to see more tutorials like this in the future, then be sure to subscribe. And otherwise, I will see you all down in the comment section and in the next one. Thanks again for watching. and then there was silence.